Hello, my name's Clayton.
And I'm Alex.
I'm Carl Ukested, and these are the things we've seen. There's a real guy I know named Carl Ukested.
Dude,
Okay, yeah, who is Carl Ukested?
He's a guy on the Crescent. He is okay. So
This is the actual person.
he's a real person. This is the weirdest thing. So my friend Adam, his dad is friends with Carl Ukested. He's this dude from the Crescent. I think he was a state trooper, and he has this thing called Carl Fest every year during Apple Fest, where he just has people at his house and they get in his hot tub.
What?
Yeah, for real.
how do I get an invite?
Yeah,
I've never gotten one. I would love to get you in if I could get in, but I can't even get in.
This is terrible.
It's, big old Mikey Pellinger hasn't been able to get an invite. Being,
But he's even tried. But
being the mayor and all.
he's familiar with the festivities. But yeah, I don't really know the guy very well. But I thought I was trying to think of a name, and I was like, he's got a funny name.
That's a really good name.
Yeah, so I just picked a name. I don't know.
That's a good one. What's the one that I have for you on Facebook?
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
Idris.
I forgot what your name is. We can look right now. Here, let's.
Mine for Clay is not Kyle in all caps because I would answer Clay as if I was answering Kyle.
Yeah.
It was really tragic.
I'm Egidius Schiffer.
Yeah.
That's what you named me, and I named you Chum Guzzler.
Tom Guzzler.
That's your name in my phone.
I love that.
Yeah.
I forgot that I'm Chum Guzzler.
Yeah, you're Chum Guzzler.
So
man.
tell-
You're so brave.
Tell us about Edius Schiffler.
You picked it, I think.
Yeah, because you told me like this is a person like weren't they a serial killer or something?
Oh, maybe. So there's a while where I would just name myself in group chats like the names of like horrible criminals and serial killers and stuff.
Yeah,
Like Al Fish, shit like that.
Albert Fish. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rip to the greatest. Yeah,
Let's never do it.
I would just name myself like. But it was always better if you picked somebody obscure, because then somebody would Google it and you'd be like, oh shit. Like I named myself one time. It was like a Japanese person's name, and then if you Google it, I don't remember what it was, but they killed 2 captive tigers in a zoo. They just like jumped down and killed them.
Jesus,
I was like, yeah,
sounds like a real jerk.
yeah, exactly, like Norm.
I do that a lot now with
Yeah.
if it doesn't matter if it's something smaller, but like we work at the same building, at this recycling facility down the road.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's a dynamic workspace.
It really is.
Okay.
Not to dox us, but
But to dox us.
to dox us with another gunshot sensor.
Bang!
But oh yeah, that's how we censor people. By the way,
Yeah, I have like 4 different
Gunshot?
shotgun
just
noises.
gunshot noises.
Yeah, okay.
And I just put it over whatever we're censoring because
Okay.
it's better than like a censorship bleep.
Yeah, I think it's cooler. It's kind of like how there was that little while in like the mid 2000s where everybody loved gun sounds and rap songs and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's making
Yeah.
a comeback
Yeah, that's a good idea.
in podcasting though.
But going back to what I was saying, what will happen is like the big punching bag is like second shift. You know, like oh, second shift really fucked us up and blah blah blah. Like I can't believe they left out a bunch of pallets that we have to like break apart and do this shit to. So I'll let everyone else air their grievances. At the very end, I'll give like a good 3-second pause and be like, they sound like real jerks.
Yeah, I would think like most people that wouldn't go over as well as it does for me. I think that's just hilarious, but
Yeah. I think people will start to kind of understand my humor at work a little bit. And so
I think everyone.
they will eventually. for
they will
sure.
eventually. So
Everyone in my specific area caught on to it pretty quick.
yeah, good.
Because I think they realized how much I just don't care
Yeah, and,
about dumb things.
and I'm transferring over to his building now, actually.
Yeah.
So we're going to be
Oh, you guys will have so much room
Tighter
for
knit.
activities, you know.
Oh,
the activities.
not really. There's a couple things in the way, but we can make room.
Oh yeah.
There's forklifts.
Speaking of activities, we gotta revisit the basement of the old Fort Kickass.
Oh yeah, we had a
Superior basement.
podcast of our own for
We
a little
did
while.
at one point. So the good old Fort Kickass podcast, and never had something like that.
No, we were a lot more low tech, and Lightning, bless his heart, he did all of the heavy lifting on a lot of that.
Really
stuff.
did, really did.
A real
Worked,
hero.
built straws and cities out of shit, basically.
Oh, yeah, and I think there's maybe a couple episodes that still are up on the internet.
Yep. He's
yeah.
got all of them on his hard drive still.
Dude, and the thing that's
awesome.
crazy about that is we did probably like 10-ish episodes, maybe like 10, 15 episodes, but we were still able to pull like a really, really crazy guest one time. I don't know, it's probably not on the internet anymore, but we had one episode where we were able to get former Governor Jesse the Body Ventura
Yes.
on. That's unbelievable. Like, I can't even
We
believe
we had Jesse here briefly.
Really?
Yeah.
One of our first guests.
Yeah. Very briefly. He just made an appearance. and-
He's weirdly down to do podcasts. I don't
yeah,
know.
we talked about how much he loved playing Call of Duty World War II.
Hmm.
Okay.
And of
Always-
course, Predator being a documentary.
Always plays for the blue team. For whatever reason.
For whatever reason. and- but you guys were the
The
first
frog
to do it.
man, you know. But yeah, like I loved. The real thing was we had Mike Sly on, the homie Mike Sly, and he can do like an absolutely perfect Jesse Ventura.
Yep.
And it was pretty amazing because someone asked like what he was running for next, because like he had been the governor, he had talked about running for president,
Hmm.
and somebody was like, "Hey, so what are you going to run for next?" And he just goes, "I'm running from the government." And like we were just like choking laughing. That's like my favorite thing I remember from that podcast is that specific thing that Mike Sly said.
Nick was on that same night, right? I feel like.
Yeah, I thought we had the bros over, but I can't
Yeah.
remember for sure.
God, I love
So
them.
if that was the same night, there was discussion of Behind the Nut at some point.
Oh, dude, Behind the Nut. I
So-
forgot about
yeah.
Behind the Nut.
So
Oh
be-
my God.
So Behind the Nut, this is where it gets great.
Holy fuck, dude. I totally forgot about
this
this.
is why we need Mikey P.
Yeah, and the Sly Kids. So in the same night that Jesse Ventura comes on and does all of his discussions, me and Nick Sly end up having like a huge like good connection with each other. Like, all right, this kid's deep and philosophical, and like he's funny as fuck, but I didn't realize that he could get really deep.
Oh, yeah,
So
for sure.
The podcast ends about like, I don't know, 9 p.m., 9:30, something like that. We end up like driving around for a good like another hour and a half. That does include driving through Bangor in this area.
Oh, wow.
And then through West Salem as well. We were just like driving and talking. It was really, really cool. So I think it was West Salem. We come to a stop sign or stoplights and, just sitting there waiting to go, and light turns green. We turn. All of a sudden, cop lights behind us. And we're both looking at each other going, what was that all about? Like, whatever, we'll pull over. And the cop gets out, comes up and goes, so I see you ran that red light there. And I go, no, I didn't.
yeah. I would remember that, I think.
Yeah. I was like, no, I didn't. He goes, so what are you doing out here at midnight on a Sunday, Like, well, we just got done doing a podcast in La Crescent and started driving around, and we're just talking about homie shit, He goes, oh, well, it's kind of weird to be out, midnight driving around from La Crescent, if you ask me. I'm like, oh, well, that's a thing we're doing. So you guys haven't been drinking? I'm like, no, actually, I'm straight edge. And Nick said he was too. So I give him my license. He comes back and he goes, so you're straight edge. Does that mean you're vegan too? And I was like, it doesn't mean that I'm vegan, but I happen to be.
yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I also am. He goes, do you have any tattoos to back that up? And I was like, yeah, there's the X. So that tells me this dude went and creeped on my Facebook in his cruiser.
Or, you know what else he might have done? He might have looked up your name and found that you have some things on your record that may have.
Those were expunged at the time.
Okay. I was going to say, because maybe he was like, this guy parties.
No, that was wiped off the record because
Okay.
they didn't take me to. I wasn't incarcerated, so I didn't have.
I didn't know what happened after you left my purview, but
We'll get into that whole story because that's a fun story.
I wanna hear
assumed that
this.
was why I was here, really.
Ethan has the privilege of knowing pre-straight edge
Yeah.
So,
He was more fun.
but
I'm so jealous of everyone that got to know pre-straight edge.
Yeah, I don't know. It was, I would say, mixed bag.
That's all I need.
you got friendliness, but you had to put up with a lot of Lamb of God. So,
Oh
That's
yeah,
all
Philadelphia.
that's all I
Yeah.
I made these guys. I made these guys sit in my living room and watch Philadelphia.
We watched Philadelphia.
while I'm in the kitchen drinking 2 pints of
Yeah,
wine.
that was that day. You know what's funny is I was thinking about that story in my head on the way here, and the one element that I didn't remember was Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, now I remember. I'm watching Randy Blythe yell at somebody in his van, and then Clay is just like guzzling water, and I'm like, "Wow, Clay's really thirsty." Because you just had like pint glasses,
yeah.
and you're just like chugging water.
Turns out it's vodka.
Yeah,
So
yep,
insane.
yep.
Yeah.
We could go through that in a minute, but yeah, just the Philadelphia thing brought me back.
It
Holy
didn't-
shit!
And I didn't blink when I was drinking them either. So, but anyways, this cop's, like just grilling me, for driving around. And he's probably pissed that he like caught the one sober person, in town.
Yeah, he was trying to fill his quota for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh my God, Nick's going to be pissed, but fuck it. I'm going to have fun with this. So he goes, oh, a podcast? What's that all about? And I'm like, I have never seen a single episode of Seinfeld, but I've been told that it's a show about anything and everything and nothing all at the same time. That's kind of what this podcast is. We just sit, we just talk.
That actually is a great way to describe that podcast and kind of this podcast.
Yeah,
in
we
a way.
really just talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of goes.
And so he goes, oh, okay. Well, what were you guys talking about tonight? And I was like, well, we were talking about Behind the Nut. And I can feel.
Does Alex? Do you know about Behind the Nut?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So I can feel Nick Sly in the passenger seat next to me. I can physically hear and see him go, oh no, like just drop down. And I explained to this cop in full detail what Behind the Nut is. And then I said, and I quote, yeah, we're probably getting to make up shirts and you'll probably buy one.
What a hard call out.
Then-
Sick.
Then he left.
But he didn't really
He didn't
react to
say
that?
anything. He just walked off.
So he didn't buy one.
You didn't get the ticket though.
I didn't get a ticket.
All right.
I got 0 tickets, but I got to re-grill a cop. So
That's incredible.
Pretty nice. Pretty nice. I'm actually like a thin blue line pro cop guy. So I'm actually distraught to hear that you would.
Traumatic for you.
I'm so
I can't
sorry.
believe that you would misuse our government resources and fuck with a boy in blue like that.
Speaking about fucking with the boys in blue,
How is this a transition to anything?
we'll revisit partial that night that I got apprehended, if you will. On,
I wouldn't even call it apprehended, but yeah, go ahead.
cuffed on Pearl Street.
You got cuffed. You definitely got cuffed.
So what my recollection and piecing together Katie Pape's story, your story, part of Danny's story, everyone that night. I was not taken to the police station. They immediately took me to the hospital.
Yeah, that's what I had heard from you, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, and I got a citation. That was about it. I think it was a $80 to $100 like, oh, you shouldn't have done that citation, and then into the hospital. That was it. So
Okay.
I had no.
You weren't arrested.
I was not
in any-
arrested.
Okay.
I was just detained, I guess.
So, what I would say, you were definitely definably drunk and disorderly.
Yes.
I think that like you could have gotten stuck with one of those for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Based on two specific things you did.
Oh no.
But yeah, I would say that would apply to you. But.
Yeah. So I'll tell you part of where I'm at in
Okay.
this whole process.
Yeah.
I remember being I think it was at Hot Topic, and you guys all come pick me up because I am not a member of Miss August at this time.
You were not. Yeah.
It was still Tyler Quinton,
And you still
Jeremy,
let him join.
you and Danny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We did let him join. That's true.
Yeah, eventually.
After this,
Which
it was like not that long. It was maybe 6 months after this.
Yeah,
something
it
like
was,
that.
which is
So much
wild.
funnier.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah.
So
Not that long after this.
I remember going to, I was in Danny's car. And
You were in Danny's car. I remember that
feel
too.
like they picked up Aaron Tyson
Yeah, I think we did.
at some
'Cause-
point.
Okay, because I had the van with all of our gear.
Yep.
And I had, I think, only 1 or 2 people with me because we needed the whole van. And then you would have been with Danny, probably all the
Yeah.
different driving you would have done.
I remember going from Hot Topic to Barnes & Noble to Danny's car. And then we pit stopped at my place. I grabbed something. I think maybe it was a jacket. And then we went to Festival. I don't know if we met up with you at the Festival parking lot or something.
I met up with you back at your house
Okay.
because we were at your house and we watched Philadelphia
Yeah.
and you drank that vodka. I remember that.
2 pints.
And then I remember,
Insane.
I'll let you tell your recollection and I'll tell mine.
Sure. 2 pints of vodka, and then I feel like me and Danny went to Festival for something. I go inside, I get 2 silos of Twisted Tea, which is they're 24 ounce.
I remember this as well.
So 2
I
silos.
can confirm this.
That's 48 ounces of Twisted Tea on top of 2 pints of
You've
vodka.
had, probably about 2 pints of vodka.
And-
And no mixer. No mixer.
No mixer, just straight. So, 2 pints of vodka, 48 ounces of Twisted Tea, which were smashed before I even got into Danny's car.
I just remember Danny telling me, I didn't see the Twisted Tea. I heard about the Twisted Tea.
Yeah.
And then I saw the other thing that you had.
I don't remember that.
You had
it was the flask.
you had a flask.
The little flask of, I think it was whiskey.
You had whiskey.
Yeah. So, and I got the flask of whiskey at Quick Trip because I was hungry. And I was like, oh man, I should probably soak up some of this alcohol.
Yeah, probably good idea.
So I remember getting a pork chop sandwich, a barbecued pork chop sandwich.
Okay.
It's so weird to hear you say that.
I know. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
you used to do everything differently.
I did
than you've done
everything
now.
differently. Yeah. I used to believe in God.
I've always been an Allah guy. So God,
Yeah,
God
yeah,
in
yeah,
its own
this-
sense.
Yeah.
but,
Praise the Almighty.
mhm.
So
I don't
anyways,
want to see a shin or anything when I'm outside either.
Actually, I never believed in God. I've been a heathen since I was born.
Okay.
Anyways, no. But I get in a car. It's about 4 p.m. about this time.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And the last thing that I remember was I took a bite of this barbecued pork chop sandwich.
hmm
And I was like, God, this tastes really good. And then I look up and I'm in the back seat. I look up and I can see the sunset. And I was like, that is gorgeous. Boom. 4 a.m. on my couch. The next thing.
Some more things happen between those.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So,
apparently.
last thing I remember, first thing I remember, and when I'm on my couch, I'm on my stomach, my hands across, like on the floor. I look up, I can see like a pile of, because I used to live right down from Family Video.
hmm
Oh, wow.
This is pre-streaming and shit. So, I had a DVD player, and I just maxed the fuck out of everything I could on Family Video. So I was like, probably to the height of this table, a stack of DVDs,
Jesus.
and I'm going, oh fuck, I got late fees.
yeah, that was your first thought.
That was my first thought.
And you didn't even know you had been in detox.
No,
Yeah.
I had
Oh,
zero
yeah.
idea. And so then I fall back asleep. And I was like, I gotta go to work the next day. So I went back to sleep, I took a little nap, and I slept for another 3 hours, got up, showered, got dressed. I don't have a car, so I'm walking from my house or my apartment building to the mall, which is like probably less than 2 miles, a mile away from the townhouses I'm at.
Yeah.
I stop at Burger King and I get myself a little, 2 ham sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches. I eat them on my way in and I open up the store. I open up Hot Topic and count the register in. Perfect. I'm ready to go. Turn on the music. And my coworker, Andrea, walks up. She goes,
I forgot Andrea worked there at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
yeah, she walks up and she goes, what are you doing here? And I was like, I'm on the schedule. I'm supposed to work. She goes, you were taken off the schedule. Did they not tell you what happened? And I was like, no, what happened? So this is where in a TV show, it goes to a black screen and it goes 5 minutes later, ... And then I go, No fucking way.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is where you can take over.
Okay, so I was in this band at the time that was playing a show that day, and Clay was kind of a homie of ours and came to a lot of shows, and so something we would do is just like maybe you have one of your friends run merch or like just hang out, so we take people with us or whatever. I mean we've all done that before in bands, but
Of course, yeah.
so Clay was our like homie load in, maybe help with merch guy that day. And we didn't really expect you to do anything, but it was just kind of like hanging out. And so we went to Clay's house at some point after he worked, and I saw him drink those 2 glasses of vodka, and we watched some Lamb of God reality show shit. and then after that, I got in my van with all of our gear, and Clay rode with Danny. And then you made your various pit stops that I didn't make because I was loading in.
Yeah.
And then
We were responsible and went to the venue.
yeah, so then Clay and Danny showed up and got into the warehouse after we had loaded in, which I think was the point of Clay coming with us, to help us load in. So Clay and Danny show up like well after we have already loaded everything in. And then Danny goes, "Yeah, sorry, we got a little sidetracked. Also, Clay, when we parked, got out of my car and just started pissing all over a car in the middle of the fucking parking garage. So I had to deal with that. And then you are like, at this point, I would say, like, I've never drank before, but
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of people at various stages of being drunk. And you seemed like drunk, but like you would probably remember this and like you can function. Like it
Yeah.
didn't seem like it was that bad.
Yeah.
But then the funny thing is, you didn't really drink that much more. You went across the street to the bodega at one point, but I don't think I think you had done most of your drinking at this point.
Yeah.
But it just maybe hadn't caught up with you yet. It's sometimes like there's a little bit of a lag,
Oh, yeah. No.
especially when you're drinking a lot in a short period of time.
Yeah.
It takes a little while, and then it like, So basically, what happened then was, the thing that sucks about like loading in, because I think we were either headlining or we were like second to last.
I think you were headlining.
So the thing that sucks about that is you have to backline first or close to first, so maybe second. And then you're just there. Like, and a lot of us, I mean, we were all young enough that we weren't like going to bars.
Yeah.
And it's 5. So like,
The best part, it's 5.
yeah.
So it's
It's not like
daylight and
it's
you're
not
pissing
like
on this
we're
car.
yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, he did it at probably 4:30. Yeah, he pissed on
my
a car. And so like it's not like we're just killing time. Like I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I think I at one point maybe went to Polito's or something, but you did not come with us. I know that as much because you went to the bodega. Then, I think we'll just go. Should I just say Voldemort? Voldemort, the venue owner. he talked to us. I imagine like I'm not supposed to name drop certain people, but anyway, so this guy who happened to work at this venue that we were at. I don't even know if I said the name of the venue. We're at a venue
Doesn't matter.
in La Crosse on Pearl Street.
Here's the address.
I actually don't know the address. I should, but anyway.
I can think of it.
So
Three-
either
three
way,
something.
328 Pearl Street.
that sounds good.
That sounds about right.
That sounds close. So he's
For
like,
legal reasons.
he goes, "Hey, so Clay can't come back in here," and I was like, "Oh, "Okay, what's going on there?" And then he's like, "Well, so I have cameras everywhere." And he just kept running into my door, and he like tried to break my glass door. It didn't break, but I don't want him in here.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, fair enough, right? But I think maybe Rich, who worked there, I can say Rich's name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rich,
Rich
I
is
think
legit.
he maybe talked to you. Someone talked to you and was like, hey, you're not coming
I can
in,
see
right?
Rich telling you to fuck off.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what the conversation there was, but I just had heard that it had happened, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that was one of the drunken disorderly things you did that I think that you could be arrested for.
Yes.
But then what happened after that is Clay, because he was now effectively homeless for the evening, he like was just drifting around Pearl Street. He didn't have the venue to go to, he wasn't going to the show anymore. So I don't know if you did more drinking or what you did, but I know that at a certain point you just were standing in the middle of Pearl Street, which is like a one way with 2 lanes.
Yep.
And so you're standing in this one way, and one of the bands is loading in, and I imagine you're like fucking with them or whatever. And so when you're loading in, you just go on usually the left side and you put your flashers on and you're pulling your stuff out of your van or your trailer or whatever. So that's happening. So only one of the lanes is available for people to drive through.
Yeah.
And so there's just like a family driving their car through and standing in the street, right? So what they do naturally is they stop their car because they're not going to hit you, right?
Right.
And so then you just don't move and they're waiting for you to move. And then I think they honked at you and then you went, fucking hit me, fucking hit me. And so you're just yelling at them and telling them to hit you with their car. And then what they did instead was nothing. And then the cop got you.
Jesus.
And then from there, everything else is just stuff I've heard about.
Yeah. I've also heard little variants of the just fucking hit me, do it. I don't care anymore.
I can't believe this.
There was an I don't care. I had heard that there was an I don't care anymore also.
I want to see the video of you just running into the door.
There's a guy who's got that video probably still if you want to hit him up.
Oh, well, I think I will.
Okay. Yeah.
I also have heard parts of it where I was staring at someone because I'm right next to the entrance to the venue, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I just stare, and I look back at the river, and I look back at them, and I look back at the river, and I just bolt down the road, and the cops caught me. Well, the cop.
Okay.
Last name. I remember his last name because I still have the ticket.
First name cop, last name officer.
Yeah, the cop officer. Cop officer catches me right outside Buzzard Billy's.
You did not make it far.
No, I didn't.
No, you did what every drunk person does. You ran towards the river.
Yeah, which is fucking weird.
Yeah,
Was it like calling your name?
I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
why,
cool.
but it was part of one
There's
of those
probably mermaids in there.
We're almost a statistic.
Yeah, exactly. I could have been a fucking
Smiley face killer, man.
Homeland conspiracy
God.
song. So they have that song about a river killer. Or
Oh,
something
really?
like that. Yeah. But anyways,
I've never listened to music.
the other part that I was told was that when the cop caught up to me and detained me, he didn't have to actually grab my arms. I did that little shruggy okay,
You got me, pal.
you got me, and
Yeah.
I did one of these.
Enchanté, yeah.
Yeah. And then that's the other thing I remember when I woke up and looked at my DVDs. I was like, why do my hands hurt so bad? Because I was in cuffs and I went to the back of a cruiser. So when you think about how you're gonna have to sit like
Yeah.
that, that's comfortable as shit. So
To wear a seatbelt, do you remember?
I don't know.
I thought you did.
I was this entire time I'm blacked out.
Yeah,
It was
you didn't
gone.
know any of this
No.
happened.
I don't remember any of it. So I also remember my friend at the time, Jeremiah, and his friend Ricky, who were friends with Katie.
Yeah.
They were dispatched to. They went to the jail right away. They're like, "We're looking for Clayton. We're looking for Clayton. Is he here? We need to talk to him right now and get him out of here." And they're like, "Oh, there's no one in here by that name." And then they contacted the detaining officer, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's at the hospital." So,
Okay.
apparently they get to the hospital, and I'm still fighting nurses.
That sounds fun, honestly.
Yeah, that sounds like a silly time.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Part of it was I didn't want to lay down on a bed because they were trying to take vitals and they were trying to pump my stomach and shit.
Yeah, they didn't want you to die.
Yeah,
turns out.
basically they're
Yeah.
they're doing their fucking
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, they were worried you might die.
They're making sure I'm not gonna croak on them.
They had,
So-
they had to make sure you didn't have a bigger late fee.
Yeah,
wanna
they
hear
were
what
really
those
worried about your
DVDs.
late fees.
Exactly. And I remember someone, I think it was Ricky, it said that one of the nurses told me to sit down, and I said, "Fuck you, I'm not gonna sit down," and blah blah. And then someone must have caught wind that I answered to commands from my grandma, and someone said grandma tells you to sit down, and I just sat down. And I
That's
just,
hilarious.
I
That's
just,
wild.
I've never heard this part of the story.
I sat down and I just shut the fuck up. And so that was part of it too. The other part, I think this was after all of it. I stood there in my gown because apparently they were able to gown me up, and I just collapsed, and I did not I was out. I was done. And they did some tests and yeah, he's got 0 heartbeat. So
Wow.
So you
yeah.
were dead for a little bit.
Apparently, and I don't know how this is possible. This is this is what I was told, like 3 minutes. So
That's
legally
a while.
legally dead for 3 minutes.
That explains something.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
That's
A little
so
bit.
crazy.
It's my fucking lazy eye.
Well, I don't know. I knew you before then too. I
Yeah.
don't know.
But so what's funny about that is like I tell this story to people and they're like, "Oh, well, that's why you don't drink." I'm like, "No, I didn't stop drinking."
Yeah, you didn't stop. Yeah, that's
just
that's
kept
the
going.
best part of the story. You after that were like, well, that was kind of fun. Let's roll the dice on this shit. You know?
People are like, "Oh, well, that would have done it."
What
for
a
me."
wake up call, huh? And then you're like, no, man.
Kept going.
No, man, just told me that I was invincible, so I just kept fucking doing it.
Yeah, and so they're like, "Oh, that's not the thing that did." I'm like, "No, it was another 5 months after."
That's so
Yeah, we had you
crazy.
after that happened. We were like, this guy should join the band. After that happened,
What was
you didn't
going
even.
through your head when you were like, "Yeah, we should bring him in"?
I don't even know. It's weird to think about now because you ended up being like very responsible and you
Yeah,
were like Danny and I were the only ones that were always at practice.
Right.
You were responsible.
Yeah.
But it is kind of weird to me that based on that information, we would be like, this is the guy. It is a little weird.
That genuinely blows my mind. It's like on paper, I should not have ever been allowed to join a band. You know,
Yeah, I think
unless
I
it was
think
like a
so.
Guns N' Roses cover band.
You would have done well there, yeah.
Yeah,
Motley Crue.
Winger,
Winger, dude. Yeah, Winger, Poison. We can keep naming names, yeah. Rat.
Buck Cherry,
Dude, I love Buck Cherry.
dude.
They support the boys in blue.
I mean, with a name like Josh Todd, you kind of do.
Yeah, a little first last. Yeah.
So that's that story.
I think so.
Oh,
That's pretty good.
There are the other small little details of when they got to the hospital. They got me home. I was passed out, understandably.
I think so. I think so.
This time through exhaustion, not because I was like wasted. I'm sure there was like a little tail of the dragon on there, but you know, not an actual dragon, not the heroin dragon,
Not the cool dragon.
not the cool dragon,
Not the fun kind.
But I passed out, and they get me inside. They put me on the couch. And I remember that was the other thing too. There was the citation from the officer next to my DVDs, and my first reaction was the DVDs, not the like, oh, I got arrested or detained thing. But the other part that they told me was, he actually told me this, that they went through my entire townhouse, my apartment,
Really?
to see if I had any hiding alcohol anywhere.
Oh, that's kind of smart, actually.
It is. It's very responsible and very smart because, you know, if I wake up and start chugging again, I could just end up dead. So they found a bottle of scotch, and this is what blows my mind, is that Ricky found the bottle of scotch and was going to open it and dump it down the sink.
Mm-hmm.
I still have that bottle of scotch, and I remember because when my grandfather died in 2000, I found it in the garage, and I was like, oh, he never opened this, so I'm going to keep this, and I'm never going to open it. So Ricky was about to uncap this and dump it down, and Katie stopped him and says, if it's not open for a reason.
Yeah, that's kind of
Wow.
true. I mean,
Yeah.
because especially at that stage of your life,
Yeah.
you would have been in that
Yeah.
if it was just a bottle you bought. If it looks really old and stuff,
It's very old.
It's
Like-
kind of like maybe you're keeping this or something.
And I have it, and so it's funny because that was from my grandpa Glenn, who's like, you know, he's not the straight edge grandpa. My straight edge grandpa was the
It'd
one.
be
that
weird
was
for him to have that if he
Yeah.
was the straight edge grandpa. But
He would have been my straight edge grandpa. My grandpa Harold, actually, on my dad's side, he was the one that was in World War II, and he had a hunting
fun war.
Yeah, yeah.
Now that was a good one.
What a wacky one, wacky time, you know.
Yeah.
But
Dolph.
wait, did you say Dolph or golf?
Yeah, Dolph.
Dolph the comedian.
Dolph
yeah,
doing his thing.
yeah. Dolph does golf. So I still have it. It's tucked away and it's wrapped up. Obviously now it's never going to be opened, but you know it's. And I talked to my mom last time that I was in Washington with her, and I asked her about this.
Mhm.
Like I was like, "Were you aware that Grandpa had an unopened bottle of scotch?" Like, because they're a part of our family who is in Oregon that owns like
You have McGuff and McClaskey.
You got a lot of Mick.
they are not blood related, But the McClaskeys owned, like, at the time, the biggest wine and alcohol distributing company in Oregon State.
Wow.
So they're loaded.
Big ups.
Big ups.
Mad respect.
So yeah, I asked Mom. I was like, "So did Grandpa get this from them?" She goes, "No, he probably got it from his hunting buddy." And I was like, what's the story behind that?" She goes, "So when you go out hunting, you bring a bottle of scotch or whiskey with you, and you know when you've made your kill, you uncap it and you share, you know, the victory, you know, like swig, basically."
Okay.
And so she goes, "Your grandpa's hunting buddy probably died right after they bought that bottle, and that's why he never opened it."
Ah, I see.
And I was like,
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
"Son of a bitch, that's crazy." So
So now you just got it.
now I just got it.
That's cool.
So
Well, if you ever break edge, that'd be a
that's
fun way.
you know, I
So
always
is that like your edge reminder, like the sweaty balls?
yeah it is. So another funny story: my grandfather on my dad's side was the one that was in World War II. Has a hunting knife made out of like we can bleep this ivory.
You can say ivory.
'Cause I've got
Yeah,
ivory.
ivory's legal. Well, not really,
The
but
handle's made out of ivory, and he got it in India. And there's a little bit of blood still on the blade, so
Cool.
I'm thinking he like totally
Killed a man.
stabbed a Nazi with it.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
And I was like, well, these are reminders for, you know, I come from some really interesting backgrounds. So, but yeah, so that's the other small little detail of like them finding me that night and
that's wild.
bring me from the hospital. So
Real fun time.
yeah. So thank you for letting me join the band.
yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So
We're
when's
happy to
the
have you.
reunion?
I don't know. We never discussed. I imagine never would be my guess.
I could imagine that too, because
Yeah, my guess is never. That's what I'm going to go on the record saying.
Would it only happen if Clay ever got really, really fucked up again? Would you be like, damn, we should get the band back together?
I'm trying to think about the timeline. I think Clay didn't drink basically right when he would have joined. Like it would have been close to the
Yeah.
time you would have joined. So there, you weren't really fucked up when you were in the band.
no. Because I remember getting into Miss August, and I was like, yeah, I'm not drinking anymore, guys. So, and I think I remember profusely apologizing left and right for it too.
Yeah, and I remember you telling us that, and we were all like, "Oh, that's cool, man." And then you left or whatever, and we're like, "So that's like a day, maybe?" Like we know we were like,
Yeah.
"That's not happening, right?" But we didn't really care. And then
Yeah.
you actually did not drink again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's
And
wild.
July 25th was my, like, I woke up sober and stayed that way, basically. So
After my birthday.
I do.
Yeah.
No shit.
July 24th is my birthday.
Look at that.
July 23rd.
Trey Parker. Like, I only know that because.
Yeah, you always tell me Trey Parker
it's-
as my birthday.
I'm so fucking jealous. Like, I've got some good people on my birthday, but
I think mine's like Jessica Elba or something.
see, that's good.
Okay.
I can't
Sin
remember. I could be
City,
wrong.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, that's the one that you bring up.
Oh yeah, dude. Are you kidding? Jeez.
So-
that movie?
I feel like we spent a lot of time on me for a second
fine.
there, but that's the
I think that
best-
needed to happen. Though.
That's the backstory. That's the backstory between like the segue into Miss August. So, you were Miss August, and
Yeah.
We Paint the Sky. Was that it, or was there something before Miss August?
I've like jammed with other people, but I haven't had like other formal bands other than that I've been in. Yeah, and especially that I was like, you know, recording stuff, playing shows, stuff like that.
Right.
So
Right.
those are, like the big ones. Yeah.
So Miss August was the first one then, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
I joined that when I was we kind of like we were a band called Asthmatic Massacre before
Yes.
that.
Danny,
Yeah, Danny
Danny
told us
did
about
mention
that.
that.
Yeah. So that was so this is the thing there is that I was like when I was a kid, I grew up listening to like punk music, like I was into like Green Day, well, like pop punk. I was into like pop punk, and then I got into basically just by going to Hot Topic, and like I knew Rob.
Yeah.
I like when you would have like the listening station there, you could
Oh,
just
yeah.
like listen to shit.
Yeah.
I heard they're like Under Oath, they're only chasing safety there, and then I was like hooked on like post-hardcore, screamo, hardcore stuff. And so I got more into that, and then I was taking guitar lessons this whole time and like learning theory and learning how to play guitar. And I always wanted to be in a band, and I went to the warehouse a lot, and I was friends with Danny. But I was always kind of like, well, I just like play by myself, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I shouldn't like join a band because I'm an idiot. And then I like they needed a guitarist, and I knew Danny, and he knew I played, and so I went to hang out with them and like just jam with them or whatever. And I was like, oh, I know way more than any, because like I actually like was going to lessons and like learning stuff about guitar, and I was like, oh, I'm actually like overqualified for this.
Yeah.
So then I played like 1 or 2 shows with them, and then we were kind of like jamming and writing stuff that was like a lot more involved than what they had before. And then Danny kind of brought up the name change and kind of like starting fresh. And he was like, it would be cool if we were Miss August. I think my recollection of why Danny chose this name, and he may have told you.
No,
No,
that,
it
so
did
that was
not
something I
cover that.
wanted to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I didn't ask why the name changed.
Yeah. So Danny could confirm this, and I'll ask him about it actually. But I believe, because he picked it,
Yeah.
I think that it was because he wanted something that wouldn't sound like a metal band, and he liked the idea of it just being like a pinup girl thing, like something you'd have in like a Playboy or whatever, because of like Miss August.
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, and then we could just like for our decals on shit and like our merch, we could have just like slutty chicks on stuff. So then like my guitar case, like my road case, has like a
the
topless girl, like pinup girl on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we named it Miss August.
That's fantastic.
We were gonna have like
really
this
wild.
this like 70s Playboy branding, and we didn't do that really. We like half-assed it kind of, but
So I remember asking someone about the name, and the person that told me the name was not anyone affiliated with the band at all. Like, not a single band member. It was Greg, my coworker at the time.
okay, yeah.
Story about why the band's name was Miss August, and he said, I can't tell you who, but someone had sex with someone that was a Playboy model.
That's absolutely not
Yeah,
true.
yeah, and I didn't. I was
Also,
like,
it would have been Danny.
and I was like,
Let's be real, yeah.
yeah, I was like, that slept with an actual Miss August, and I was like, well, that's the name. I was like,
Nope.
yeah, I didn't think that was true.
I can debunk that right now.
Thank you, Wikipedia fact.
I was about
fiction.
to say, can somebody update the Wikipedia?
Yeah,
right
there's
now?
no Wikipedia, but yeah.
I'll go
yeah.
make one.
Yeah, cool. There's not a lot to put on there, but you're welcome to do that. But yeah, so that was like how that started, and then Jeremy was our other guitarist, and then he left, and then we needed somebody, and then you were in.
Yeah, and I remember this is gonna be really, really funny. I remember being like, I'll show up and I'll play a couple riffs, and the first couple riffs I played for you guys were off of Start Something, the Lost Prophets album.
Oh yeah, that's a band that hasn't had any weird
No
things happen,
issues.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, if these will impress these guys, I can get into the band too. And I don't think you guys knew any of the riffs I played. Just the fact like I could actually
We
like,
didn't listen to Lost Prophets at all. We
yeah,
wouldn't
no,
have known,
and I was like, well, I think someone, I can't remember who, was like, well, you know how to play a note and you know how to play a chord. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I think really what it was so like one thing that we did a lot in that era, and you did this with us too, and I've done this in Miss August, I've done this in We Paint the Sky, and I've done this with other bands, is we just like sit down and watch the Parkway Drive documentary.
Yes.
And one thing that's in the Parkway Drive documentary that I really took to heart was, and I didn't really have this experience. Everyone I've been in a band with has been cool, but there's this point in the Parkway Drive documentary where they're kind of like a mid-level band and they're in Europe and they're kind of stuck there because like that's where all their dates are, and they're on, I think at that point they would have been on Epitaph, but they were like doing all this European distribution through a different label. And so they're in Europe doing all this stuff, and their bass player is just like a piece of shit, I guess. And he quits or gets kicked out or something, and so then they're without a bassist. And they are thinking about their buddy back home who is their merch guy sometimes, and he's just like kind of a fuck up, and he just is fun to hang out with, and like they really get along with him, but he doesn't know anything about bass. He can't play music at all. And they're like, well, it's not that fucking hard. And like we can teach him that, and he's cool, and we know that he'll be fun. And so they flew him out to Europe, and he's still their bass player. So
Yeah.
like
That's wild.
I think like
Damn. I didn't know that.
they just like taught this guy how to play bass. And so I was like, you know, if you're like down to come to practice and you're like not a dickhead, I'm pretty in.
That's kind of all that matters.
Yeah, and also like you learned how to play, because like at that point I was kind of writing a lot of the music. Basically like Tyler and I were writing a lot of the music, and then like Danny and I would sit down and work it out for bass. But then like you joined, and then we were kind of writing stuff together pretty quickly. But like at first you just kind of like learned everything pretty
Yeah.
quickly. So that's kind of what I ended up doing later when I joined We Paint the Sky. I sort of like just was able to learn everything. Like that's the big thing is like you bring somebody in, if they can learn the shit and they show up, it's kind of like
That's all you
that's
need.
going to be fine. Yeah.
Good enough.
I remember when I joined, I was actually like kind of intimidated by your guitar playing because
I wasn't very good.
the
but-
reason being, and I like just visually, I'm looking at my hands and I can see your hands, and I'm like, this dude's got longer fingers than I do.
I don't have that long of fingers, but
I think you do actually.
yeah, they're longer than yours. Yeah, that's
and
true. I didn't
was
know
like,
that.
shit, this guy can. And the other thing that was really impressive was like your pitch harmonics. I don't know how.
Dude, we
you
were
do that.
just talking about this literally 2 days ago.
yeah, like
Because I was like,
it's like a
dicking
dime bag.
around.
Yeah, I have like a fake octave pinch harmonic supplement that I do.
And I wish we had a guitar to like demonstrate it. But
it's not that. It's not it's actually like it's lazier than a pinch harmonic. I could do pinch harmonics too.
Yeah,
But I like this like weird. I don't know, man. It is kind of like a Dimebag Darrell thing because Dimebag Darrell would do stuff past the beyond the nut,
behind the nut.
behind the nut. He would do stuff behind the nut. And I so like one thing that I would do is so like sometimes I would do pinch harmonics like the normal way, right?
yeah,
But then you would hit anywhere where you can get a natural harmonic, so like third or fifth or whatever.
Yep.
You'd hit a harmonic, and then you just bend the string behind the nut, and you would get like sort of like a pinch harmonic noise, but it was sort of like it was in between a pinch harmonic and then like a dipped whammy squeal. It's like
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle of that.
I remember seeing that and just being like, God, that's impressive.
It's like dumb. It's like not even hard. It's like the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
It's actually just lazy and bad. I'm actually like embarrassed that I did those.
That's so
but
funny.
but yeah, I did do those a little bit.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So okay, and my memory is muddled because I feel like there was definitely a Miss August like dissolving in a sense, and what I like about it is like, you know, obviously like was it We Paint the Sky that like showed up to practice all the time?
So basically, what happened was I worked at Target at the time with
Yeah.
Kirk,
That's what it was.
and also
Everyone worked at Target.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say we've
yeah.
all worked at Target.
yeah, you
I worked
at
there
Target.
twice.
Yep. Yeah,
Horrible.
Mason worked at Target. Yeah, so I worked at Target at the time with Kirk, and one of my good friends was Kirk's roommate, and then also I was good friends with Adrian.
Mhm.
So we had all this kind of
The guy
intermingling.
from Rough Life.
The guy from Rough Life.
Guy
Yeah,
from
shout
Rough
out,
Life.
shout out, guy from Rough Life. But we've doxed him now. Everybody knows who that is. So Rough Life. Also, by the way,
Shotgun
I had
blast.
this awesome idea for Rough Life that we never did, but that was gonna be my next band. But I can plug that at the end. So I was kind of hanging out with Kirk a lot and with Adrian, and they had written this EP because they were Gun Barrel City before this. They were like
Yeah.
a pop punk band. And they had written this EP that was just like this post-hardcore EP, and it was really cool, and I had heard it and I liked it a lot. And they wanted to like actually start playing shows and like get a band going. But it was just Kirk, Tommy, and Adrian. Tommy played guitar. Adrian and Kirk were both vocalists. So it was 2 vocals, guitar, nothing else.
Yeah.
And so then they got Tommy's brother Danny to learn bass stuff, and so he was around. But they wanted to practice, so I was like, well, you guys can practice in my basement if you want. You just come when we have practice, you can practice after. So we would practice as Miss August, and then We Paint the Sky would practice after. And they were auditioning other guitarists. So
Yeah.
they would have people come play with them in my basement, and I was just there because like I lived
Say,
there.
fuck it, let's just do this.
So I was just kind of like hanging out, and I had no ambition of like leaving Miss August to
Yeah.
join We Paint the Sky or anything. But so then basically what ended up happening was they had people practice, and no one really worked out. Like nobody could play, nobody really were the right vibe.
yeah.
And then by just being there, I knew all their songs.
Hmm.
So then I would just like jam with them.
Yeah.
And it was like, it felt really natural. It was a lot different. It was kind of like a new challenge. So I think like I was kind of temporarily playing with them.
And I was like, fuck, I would have done that too, actually. You know?
I think we were both there. So it was just kind of like, yeah, I was playing with them. And I didn't really have an ambition of like being in the band, but we were just like they were trying out a drummer. Also, they're trying to find a drummer. So
that story.
well, the thing that's great about that story is they tried out a few people, and I was playing guitar just so that we had a full band,
Yeah.
so they could try out drummers. They tried out like 3 people, and then they tried out Cody, and Cody was mega nervous, and he was like 12 years old, and
Yeah.
we had sent him the songs, right?
Yeah.
and he like knew them front to back when he showed up.
Yeah.
So they were immediately like, okay, this kid rules.
Yeah.
So he's in. And then at that point, like they had the whole band, and I was kind of like, man, this is like really sick, and I'm enjoying playing, and like I think I'm gonna try to do both.
Mhm.
And then to be honest, what happened was I this is not a slight at all, and I really love Tyler, and I have nothing but love for Tyler now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I had like kind of explained to you guys like I'm gonna play with them, but I'm also gonna like still do Miss August stuff. I'm just gonna do both.
Yeah.
And then Tyler was like so upset with me that I just was like, all right, fuck it then, man. Like, and so then I just left. Yeah.
And I don't blame you for that at all.
Yeah, he was
because-
really mad, and I get why he would be mad too, because he just had to like see me play with them every week, and it was like while I was at practice, it was kind of like I wasn't putting my 100% into our band.
Yeah.
And I do think that sucks, and like it is in some way bad for me to have done that, but yeah. So then eventually I
Yeah.
left and joined We Paint the Sky, and then we started writing new stuff, and then went from there. So.
Yeah. So the Cody thing, I don't like. He messaged me, and because he knew I worked at Hot Topic, he knew I was a part of the whole group, and he was just getting done with Asphyxiator.
Yeah. Asphyxiator was sick.
Yeah, they were.
That's actually why they got Cody, because someone went to an Asphyxiator show and they're like, these kids are fucking good.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is before or after he was already sent the files for
Okay.
the We Paint the Sky songs, but he messaged me, goes, "Hey, I know that you know these guys. Should I join this band?" And I said, "You're an idiot if you don't."
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny because we had this kind of like, I shouldn't say we, because at the time it wasn't really me. I was
Yeah.
on the outside a little bit, but they had this EP and they had kind of covertly posted one song on it.
Ohio Blue Tip.
No, they posted Rick Steves.
Rick
if you know Rick
Steves.
Steves.
Yes.
Publicly available, but none of the rest of the EP at the time was.
Mhm.
So it was kind of like this, like they're covertly sending it to these people and like, can you play this? We want to do this. And so what we ended up doing once I had joined the band is I learned that EP. We wrote this song called I've Seen the Devil.
Yes. That
That re-recorded with Derek. That's on the internet.
lyric video I think is still on YouTube.
That's our first song we wrote as a band
It's
together.
so fucking good.
And then after that, we just started writing stuff, and we got to like a 30-minute set before we played a show. So we had like a really tight 30-minute set, and we like had our songs down because our idea was like, we've all been in bands before. Everybody, when you're in a band, your first few shows are like dog shit bad. Like you're just
Oh yeah.
it's just part
it's
of it,
supposed
you know.
to happen.
But so we're like, what if we really polish this shit? And so we like hit the ground running right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really glad we did that because it was pretty cool. Like we were able to get a pretty good following like right after our first show.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about that with Nick on the last episode. Just
Yeah.
we did. Misadventures did this, and Nick's band Brainwash did this, where it was like we did kind of a practice show before our real show,
That's a good idea too. I've never done that.
which
But
was we both agree like it was pretty beneficial because at least then you had a better idea of like how it felt to play properly as a group.
yeah, and
Because-
you get used to people speeding
Yeah.
up,
yeah,
so you can get that out of the way before you play live shows.
because I mean it like the music still wasn't great, but we at least were like, oh, okay, we know how to do this now. Kind
Yeah,
of a thing.
exactly. And it's not even so much about the music being great; it's just about you guys being comfortable and like feeling good about it.
Yeah, that way you don't go on stage and make like a total ass of yourself. The thing,
For
'cause,
sure.
Like I feel like had we not done that, it probably wouldn't have gone the same way that it did. I feel like we wouldn't have gotten comfortable and better at it in the time frame that we did.
Yeah, because it's more likely you crash and burn, right?
Yeah.
Like, because you just are like, this is such a fucking disaster. I don't know why I did this. I'm never doing this again. And you won't have that happen.
You kind of built a little confidence before you like go and do the real deal. Because like for Brainwash, they did their practice show the day before their first real show.
Oh, that's
Like,
cutting it
literally
close.
the day
Yeah.
before.
Wow.
And for Misadventures, it was pretty close as well. I want to say it was only like a couple weeks. I could be wrong, but
Yeah. Okay.
God, yeah, it had to be a few weeks, which was crazy because it was like super cold out and we were in Tristan's garage and just terrible way to do it. But no, I feel like that
Very
was, like,
Midwest
super,
of you, though.
Yeah, extremely. I feel like it was really beneficial though. It sounds like, kind of the same idea as what you guys were doing. It's
Yeah, I
just,
think
like,
so.
Cold garages and Marty Berg bedrooms in his.
We
parents'
did do
house.
some recording there with Marty Berg.
That was
yeah.
fun. So we're trying to get him on
Chef
here.
Boy
Yes,
Marti,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, Chef Boy
Marti.
I literally told him, I was like, dude, come on the show so we can talk about food and music. And he goes, yes.
Yeah, that'd be
Perfect.
great. He'd be a great guest, yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't talked to Marty in a while.
The last time that I hung out with Marty, we were listening to 3 on our way back from a casino after I had spent his last $100.
I remember that story. He gave you $100 at the casino, right?
Yeah, he gave me $100 and says, here, go win me some money.
Yeah, and then you came back like 5 minutes later and you're like, it's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I put it all on red.
I did. That's exactly what it was.
You were just like, let's just bet this one bet.
That's what it
Let's
was.
turn this $100 into $200 and then into $0.
It was blackjack, and I did one hand.
Oh my god. Went out of my nose. Clay, that's so much dumber than roulette. Oh my god. Why would you put it all? That's so much dumber than roulette. Oh wow, that's really fucking dumb.
I was feeling hot that night.
I guess. Holy shit.
I'm on fire tonight, baby. Marty just gave me $100.
You were way too stoked.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta have him on.
yeah. No, we'll get to him at some point. But one thing that I definitely picked up from you is the ability to say, yeah, I actually don't like this. You know.
There's nothing wrong with saying you don't like something.
Because before I joined the band, and even before I moved to Wisconsin, I was a very, very like butt rocky kid, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I was definitely more into like, I think the heaviest band I was listening to at the time was like Slipknot or something like that.
Slipknot's pretty sick.
And that's fine. But I remember everyone, wearing like Bring Me the Horizon shirts, like
Mhm.
Asking Alexandria shit, and like Suicide Silence. Danny was really into Suicide Silence.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I remember when I moved, I got a job, Red Lobster, Hot Topic, and then at some point I was like, I need extra money because we're just trying to get the fuck out of into our own place. So I took a third shift job at Walmart on the South Side, and I think that was the first time I ever heard Suicide Silence, and I was like, oh, this is what these kids are all into? All right, I get it now.
yeah. Suicide Silence was sick, dude.
Yeah,
Because it's only just recently that I've like actually gotten into them.
But like, were you listening to more of like the Eddie Hermida era or
No,
the Mitch Luker era?
More
Cleansing.
Mitch, because it was let's see, the Black Crown album was out. So this, I think about the time I would have found them was like shortly after the Black Crown came out and right before Mitch passed.
You know what's wild is I went to my now wife when we were kind of when we had started dating.
Shout
we were
out
going to a
Annie.
lot of shows. Shout out to Annie. We were going to shows a lot, and her brother wanted us to see Machine Head, and I was like,
head.
well, this band sucks shit, so I don't really want to go. And
Machine Head, yeah.
sucks ass. So I was like, I don't really particularly want to go, but I like Annie's brother, and Annie wants to go, so I'll go. And then I was like, well, let's look at the lineup. And Suicide Silence was playing like right before Machine Head.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I want to see them. That would be awesome. I've never gotten to see them, right?
Yeah.
And so then we go to the show, and he's like, hey, before we go in, my buddy is down the street, and he's having dinner. Can we just have dinner with him, and then we'll go to the show? And I was like, okay, sure. So we have dinner with this guy, and he's like, oh, we should be good on time. It always runs late anyway. So we go in, and there's a changeover happening. And there's Suicide Silence shit on stage. So I'm like, oh, we got here just in time. And then I see the kick drum come off the stage. And I was like, I just missed Suicide Silence? And then I watched all of Machine Head.
Oh, no.
And then afterwards, he's super apologetic and is like, I know that was the band you want to see, whatever. So then like a few months later, he goes, hey, so I really feel bad that like we didn't get to see the band you wanted to see. So the next tour they announce, I'll buy tickets and we can go see them. And I was like, interesting thing about that, man. So their vocalist did a handstand on a motorcycle and he's dead now. So we don't get to do that. So then I never saw them. So I was like a foot away from seeing Mitch Luker
Oh my
Suicide
God.
Silence era. Didn't
Yeah.
see them.
I saw them when they came to the Lacrosse Center.
Yeah, a lot of people did. And I didn't go to that show,
That
but I
sucks.
should have. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the last show that you said that you dipped out of and you didn't see the headliner because you're like, I got to beat traffic?
Oh, we did that at. This makes so much sense, by the way. So I went to this show that was Crystal Lake, who I really liked.
Yes.
Oh, this is the one that Mason was talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I went to Crystal Lake, Spite, Brand of Sacrifice.
Yes.
And then
That's
the
sick.
headliner was August Burns Red. And I know I said before that I'm like a thin blue line guy and like I'm a Christian and all this stuff. I'm a good Christian man. That's all a lie. And that's why I didn't stay for August Burns Red. Because those were the guys that were there. There were a lot of like,
A lot of cops in the crowd.
oh yeah, there were a lot of like, I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it. Curved bill, fitted hat, forward, flare jeans over cowboy boots, no lanyard, no like on a carabiner, like the people who you usually see at shows,
Yeah.
like me.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of that crowd there. There were a lot of
push moshers.
push moshers. Yeah, a lot of
posers.
lot of people listening to the Joe Rogan Experience at that show. And so I was like, I didn't feel at home, and then Annie and I left, and it was pretty great getting to leave before the headliner. Yeah, so I didn't see August Burns Red.
Oh man.
I've seen them before.
He's seen August.
I'd seen them
the first one.
on accident.
I've accidentally seen them like 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's how people usually
And
see
I'm not
them.
like a big hater. Like I'm not like August Burns Red is dog shit or anything, but they're like pretty whatever to me. And
Yeah,
I
I
really
just, I
need
don't
to
know.
see
They
them.
don't do it for me.
I don't want to watch them play for an hour and a half. Even if there's a
Yeah.
band that I really love, I don't really want to watch them
You know
play
what I
for
think
an hour and a half.
makes me not want to watch them ever?
What's that?
The one guitar player that just wears flip-flops on stage.
I kind of like that. I actually used to do that a lot. When I was in, dude, when we were in We Paint the Sky,
That was the thing. I was like, I don't understand it, but I'll roll with it. You know.
dude, I did flip flops a lot. So this is what I liked to do on stage. I would do either flip flops or I was Tom's no socks. Those were the two
Yes,
shoes I
That's
would
way
wear.
more acceptable.
And then what I would do is I would get on stage and I would like check my guitar and shit. And then I would take my shoes off and be barefoot. And then I was just more comfortable on stage. I was barefoot on stage a lot.
yeah, see, I don't know. I'm not a feet guy.
Yeah, I'm not like Tarantino about it, but like
You're not Dan Schneider about it.
no, not Danny S. No, I don't need to like see iCarly's little sexy little toes or whatever. You know, I just
What's the website? Wiki or Feet
oh
Finder?
yeah, WikiFeet, yeah.
I think we're gonna change the episode title to.
Oh yeah, whatever you want,
Ethan
man.
loves iCarly's sexy.
Yeah,
little
yeah,
toes.
that's good. Yeah, that would do well for me. That's good. Represents me well.
Would do.
That represents me
Can
well.
you change your Facebook bio and a pin post to say everything I say on here is reflective of the company I work for?
Yeah.
As
Oh
well?
yeah.
Good.
That's true. I have a family company too. So
Just
that's a good idea.
Just Ethan Pellinger, pro cop.
Yeah, thin blue line, man.
Well,
Incredible.
I don't know what. Trying to think of other like awesome major points to bring up, but the reason I was bringing up the fact like me being able to say no
Yeah.
is I wanted to touch base on something I wanted to do for a while, which is favorite artists, least favorite songs.
Like the least favorite song of that artist.
Yeah. So for example, mine would be like Deftones. I fucking hate Back to School. Like
Okay, yeah, I like Deftones, but there's a bunch of eras of Deftones that I don't really like that much. So
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
yeah. So
I'm a Koino Yokon guy. That's
Right.
like my album of Deftones.
that's a great album. I don't think there's a bad song on that album.
Yeah, I
actually.
agree.
So, but favorite artist.
Yeah, I have to be a dickhead and look this up on Spotify because
I just kicked my
I
phone.
actually have a specific answer to this question now that I think about it. So
While you're looking that up, what are we looking at for time? Are we good?
Oh yeah, we're fine.
yeah, what do you need me to do here? Should I shut the
Whatever
fuck
you
up?
want.
It's
It's only
so
4 o'clock.
one of my favorite artists. It's hard for me to say like my favorite band, but Counterparts I really
Oh.
love. Big fan of Counterparts,
Dude.
and I love the album "You're Not You Anymore." It's like one of my favorite albums of theirs. They have a song on that album called "Haunt Me," and I think it's dog shit. But I really love that band, and I love that album.
Counterparts is one of my favorite bands.
I love Counterparts. Yeah, there you go.
So, I know my mic was just at my shin, but I love Counterparts. That's like my
Yeah.
favorite band.
He
Love
was
Counterparts.
tattooing it up for us.
Yes,
over here.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
And I agree that I don't really care for that song a whole lot.
I love that album.
But now, here's a really important question.
Okay,
Favorite Counterparts record?
that's my favorite album.
That
of
that
theirs.
one is.
It's "You're Not You Anymore," and my favorite song on that album, and my favorite Counterparts song is "Rope." That song
Oh,
is hype
dude.
as fuck.
Love
I
Rope.
actually really like their newest album.
Eulogy.
I like Eulogy.
Dude, I love Eulogy. My
Yeah.
favorite Counterparts record is Tragedy Will Find Us.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's my least favorite.
A lot of people say that, actually.
That's my least favorite. I don't hate it though.
I think the reason, though, that I would consider that my favorite is because that was the first album I discovered them from.
Yeah, I think that happens for a lot of people too.
I remember walking into Deaf Ear, and I saw that album sitting there, and a friend of mine, that was a band that he really liked, and he told me about that record, and I went, oh, okay. I don't care. And then I went into Deaf Ear, and I saw it sitting there, and I was like, he likes this band. I should check it out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, this fucking rocks. And that album's just stuck with me. But
Yeah, I think like the first album you hear of a band, sometimes there's just so much nostalgia that you're like,
yeah,
this
that
is
you
my
kind
album.
of have to.
I
feel
have
like
that
it.
with a lot of bands too.
But I
Like,
will say, Eulogy is like,
it's really good.
it's probably their best piece all around. Like it's the most ambitious record of theirs.
I think it's a fair thing to say. Yeah, I
And
like. I,
I
like that
saw
album.
them on the tour for that release. That was one of the coolest shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen
everything
him a
about it
few
was
times, but I
incredible.
haven't seen him in a few years.
Who else
now.
played that show?
It was Foreign Hands. They were pretty cool. I had never heard of them prior to that show. See You Space Cowboy, which
I love them a lot too.
I wasn't really into them, but after seeing them, it changed my mind completely.
They're really, really great live. They were pretty intense live.
They were
so.
insane live. It was so cool. And oh man, this is gonna bother me because I can't think of the name. It's on the tip of my tongue. They're a Chicago band.
There's kind of a lot of those. So
Yeah.
I can't help you.
Born of Osiris.
Yes, it was Born of Osiris. No, it was God, the vocalist has like this really weird voice, almost like Peter from Kaunashi. Why can't I think of the name? Knocked Loose really rode for them. This is
don't
gonna
know.
drive me nuts.
I don't know. Sorry.
I'm gonna find it really fast, but it was a really, really good show, and it was at fuck, this is gonna really bother me because I saw Terror at the same venue. It's the one where like you walk in and it's like a restaurant kind of,
Where is it? Which city?
like directly in Chicago.
In Chicago. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know Chicago venues that well.
Yeah, I'm not a Chicago guy. I can't.
I'm not really either. I've been to
contribute.
2 shows there.
Yeah, I'm not really like a Chicago dog.
Chicago dog.
Fucking the Bears. I'm not really into that shit.
I mean, I hope you ain't
Italian
fucking
beef.
Bears.
I'm not really into that shit.
There is a restaurant I really enjoy called the Chicago Diner. That if anyone gets their chance to get in there, like absolute god tier.
Okay.
So
Good to know.
You walked in on us from the reminiscence of our last episode that we had up. You had mentioned Ride the Lightning being a good Metallica.
That's my
album.
favorite Metallica album.
Do you have a favorite?
It was Bottom Lounge. Sorry.
Oh, Bottom Lounge.
The Bottom
yeah,
Lounge.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've never
that
been
makes-
there, but
I see that all the fucking time.
people
on
play there a
flyers.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Metallica song off of Ride the Lightning?
So, I know that I'm probably my episode will be after Nick's episode.
Yes.
And I have a lot of respect for Nick. I don't mean to disrespect Nick at all. I don't give a fuck about Metallica. I just don't.
I like that. That's the exact opposite of like the entire Nick episode.
Yeah,
so.
I like the thrashier era of Metallica.
I
Like,
found the band
okay,
real
what's-
quick while it's still
Yeah.
fresh. Karma.
I've never heard them,
Yeah.
but
They're really, really sick.
I'll
They
check
were
it out.
so cool live.
I'll check it out.
Vocalist has a really weird voice though, so it might turn you off if you.
bet he's got a big
Fuck
cock
that.
too.
Oh,
Uh,
sure.
uncircumcised as well. So
Should be.
Yeah, I won't weigh in on that. I've got my opinions.
that's ultimately the big question in everyone's minds when they see a vocalist. Like, what's that dong look?
Let me say this: there's no cover on my steering wheel. I just fucking drive it. I don't need to fucking.
I'm not trying to clean it.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we've had that
No
conversation
cheese.
for ages now.
Oh yeah, I
actually.
know
Like,
all of the circumcision stats on all my friends. I know who's clipped and who isn't.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, and sometimes it's because I've seen it, like the Miss August era.
Oh
I
yeah,
am the only member of Miss August. I'm going to go on record saying this. I am the only member of Miss August that has not pulled my cock and balls out. I am the only one.
wait, pre or post Clay?
You have, because there was
Hold on.
there was the ball picture.
That was just the balls, but it was
Just
like
the
really
balls.
close.
Just the balls. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
You've never seen Shaft.
I haven't seen your cock, but I know the state of it because we've talked about it.
I know this.
But I have seen your balls, and I have seen everyone else's shit.
Dude.
because everyone had seen the movie Waiting and got really into like the different showing your
That's
ball games.
right.
So there was like the bat wing, all that stuff. Tyler was really into the goat, so he would stand up on the drum throne and he would like tuck and then he would turn over. And then the way that the basement was set up is you walk through the basement, kind of okay, so imagine your basement, right? But this is a
Yeah.
wall. Let's say this is a wall, and then the practice space is over there, and
Okay,
you
that's
walk
where I
around
thought
this
it was.
corner.
I've been in your basement 1,000
Yeah, yeah,
times.
yeah. So
And
you
I
know
love
like
it.
that like side room, right? So when you're walking to that room, you can't see what's going on over
Right,
there.
you have no clue.
So he would stand up on his drum throne, face this way, like balls tucked behind and out. So then when you turn the corner, you see that, right? And then he's got his like asshole spread out. And so one time I was walking down with my mother who needed to get
No.
something from over there. And then she was behind me and I kind of turned the corner and he was doing it because he didn't know. And I was like, oh, hey, Mom, actually the thing you want is in this other closet. So then I ran back and then he was like, understood to take the cue to like, I gotta fucking put my pants up. So then he was doing that and then we went there and I was like, oh, dumb, silly me. It's not in there. Let's go to the place it really is. And then Tyler's just like, oh, hi, Leanne. Like, so for her, she's none the wiser unless she ever listens to this, which I'm hoping she won't.
I don't think she's heard a single Fort Kick-Ass podcast episode. So I'm
No,
sure.
but she sent one to her friends once
Oh, no.
because we were recording the podcast and she's like, "Oh, my son's recording this podcast in my house. It's so fun."
Dude.
And I was posting it on Facebook. So then she's like, "This is my son's podcast." And then she told me that she's like, "Yeah, I sent it to my friend." And I was like, "Don't do that. Don't do
you
that."
know what we talk about?
yeah.
You know, I've met your mother twice.
Yeah, Leanne.
Very lovely lady. Super nice, of course. She was so kind as to let your brother Evan and I on the rooftop of the business she works
Oh
for.
yeah, yeah. She actually retired now. So.
Did she now? So I can legally say the name.
Yeah.
She let us on the rooftop of the children's museum.
Mm-hmm.
And Evan and I were up there and he was like, just don't fall off. Like, I don't think we should let
Don't
kids
fall
see a
off.
dead body on the sidewalk. And
Like
I
it's
was
that simple. Just don't fall
As
off.
long
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
don't fall off.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, I guess that's reasonable. But I just love that she was so nice to let us on the roof.
I've been up there a few times.
It's
Let us
lovely
in
up there.
to just explore the museum like one day too. So
Yeah.
that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
No kids, 0 kids in the area.
Dude, I
so-
can't wait to take my son there and then like take him to the fake Quick Trip thing.
Yeah,
and
that
then tell
actually
him
might
that
get
he's
changed
really
out.
bad at his job.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I used to be an assistant.
Yeah, you'd be able to
So I could
critique
be like, you
him. Yeah.
suck at this.
Yeah.
Like, you
Just
can't hardly
fire
walk
your son.
yet. Yeah, I'd fire him so fast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they donated to January 6th, so they're real patriots. So shout out to Quick Trip.
That's how me and Alex met.
Yeah.
Actually,
Oh yeah, you guys are patriots.
we're in the back of a van on
Yeah,
the way to the
with-
Capitol.
with
Oh, good.
Mason.
Yeah, yeah. Mason's a real patriot.
That's become an ongoing thing where if someone doesn't know who we both are, we'll be like, oh well, I first met Alex
In the back of this van.
in the back of a
Yeah,
van,
Oh
and
yeah.
we were on our way to our nation's capital on January 6th.
Yeah, we were defending our country. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe we were meeting up with Shit Sandwich and
He was there for sure.
the guitarist for Iced Earth.
J Money was there for sure. Yeah, 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 dude. The guy from Ice Earth. I forgot. He's a Jan 6 there. I forgot about that.
Oh God.
what a holiday.
The guy who plays what the fuck is his name? Jimmy Pesto on Bob's
Bob's
Burgers.
Burgers,
was-
Yep.
Because then they kicked him off the show.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that too.
That makes so much sense that Jimmy Pesto would be a fucking January 6th.
Yeah,
right?
he would. He would.
Right. That's amazing.
Hey Bob, look what I got.
Bobo, I'm in fucking Nancy's desk.
Check out my new crest.
Yeah, this dumb skis Pelosi we're fucking taking back.
And so that makes like the timeline of the Bob's Burgers movie even funnier.
I've never seen the Bob's Burgers.
It's
movie.
actually really good.
You should watch it.
It's very
It's
good.
kind of good.
So here's my beef with that, right? It's like a musical. I don't fuck with that.
I didn't
don't
know
do
it was
that.
going to be that when I went into it,
I
but it
don't
was
do that.
still pretty funny.
how do you feel about South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut?
I do like South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
You'll probably like the Bob's Burgers movie.
Yeah.
I like even though I shouldn't like it, I like it.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I'm also not a.
I do not fuck
Musical?
with musicals.
I'm not
I-
a big musical guy, but this was worth watching. This was
It was
funny.
good.
I'll check it out.
My
I'll
musical.
begrudgingly watch it.
And
for
Jimmy
you guys.
Pesto's in this, which came out after all that happened. So canon, he's not canon anymore in that universe, but in
Okay.
the movie, he's there.
Interesting.
So the movie isn't technically canon. So
Well-
it really fucks up the whole timeline.
It's really gonna that's gonna dig under me my skin for a while. But
Yeah.
can I? Okay, I'm gonna pitch you guys before we leave. I don't know how much time we have left.
Oh,
I gotta pitch you guys this third band that I came up with that I never did.
I got a pitch after this too.
Okay,
So
Adrian and I came up with this idea like 5 years ago. So like the guy from Rough Life.
Yeah,
thing,
the guy
on
from
on
Rough
the
guy from Rough
first-
Life.
on
We
the
can
first-
shotgun blast that name.
Yeah. So on was it on the EP they released or was it just a single? I don't remember.
The neck rung.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the
It was
EP.
on the EP.
Okay, so I know that Adrian recorded that song with Cody. So Cody was in on the Rough Life thing. I don't know if he was going to do it with us or what, but basically the plan was I came up with this idea with Adrian of we were going to record like basically like a Traders style, super low BPM, like slow ass, chuggy breakdowny band
Okay.
with like gutturals and just like really stupid but cool shit, right?
What was it? Like Tactical Nuke from Acacia Strain?
Kind of that idea, right? Just like super slow, fucking dumb hardcore, right?
Yeah.
But I like that stuff. Like I love Traders. I love stuff that's like so stupid it's sick. So we were kind of in that vein, gonna record this EP, but we were going to have like a ton of vocalists on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just gonna do like we were probably gonna have Cody do drums and talk to him about it, and then I was gonna do like guitar and bass, and then I noticed that your waves aren't going, but your recording is still going, so I think you're good.
Oh yeah, it's just that it's like that far.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
But I did notice that. Basically like do you think you're good? Are you good?
I want to say yeah.
So your
Yeah, it's
tracker's
still
still
going,
going, so
so-
I think you're okay.
Yeah, I think it's just the size of the. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Weird. Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But yeah, like so basically the idea was we were gonna get all these people on this album, and we were going to take we were gonna release either an album or an EP, and just like basically make social media for it and like put songs out, but there would be no video, there would be no like description of who it is or anything.
Mhm.
And then we were gonna take promos of everyone who was on it, but we would be wearing like hoodies and you wouldn't be able to see our faces. So we would just be like, and it was going to be called Rough Life, all capitals. And we were going to like put shit out and then never play shows.
I feel like
No one would
Cody
ever know who
told
it
me
was.
about like kind of an idea like that.
Yeah. That
Some
actually,
of that sounds kind of familiar.
I don't know if that's where Neckrung originated to, but it was around that time that we were talking
That
to Cody
makes a
about
lot
it.
of sense.
But we were going to be, I don't want to say that was like I'm sure all that was just Cody doing his thing, but like it was around that same timeline we were talking about doing that and just having this like dumbass hardcore band that would never play a show. Or if we played a show, we would like try to be covert in some way and then
Yeah.
never. Kind of like the dumb Sleep Token shit that they're doing. Like no one would know. No one knows who it is. Oh my god!
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
We were kind of gonna do that, but then I never did it, and we
That's
probably
fun,
never.
though.
We probably will never do it. But
that's part of the fun.
yeah.
So
What's your pitch?
We've done this a couple times. We didn't do it with Danny because we were running low on time. We were setting up kind of late, and
and he had prior obligations.
yeah, and he was like on a time restriction. So, but every episode before then, I've been doing this fun little thing where I'll message someone, ask them their favorite band, and
Okay.
then I will pick through the entire discography, lyrics from that band. I will also, in the same vein of that band, make up my own fucking lyrics.
Oh, so you don't know which is which unless
will-
you're really dialed in.
I will also go to ChatGPT and tell them to write lyrics in the style of that.
We
That's
learned that
a
Mason
that's
doesn't know
genius.
anything about Foo Fighters.
He knows.
No, he just likes one song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way though.
So, but the other part of it too is like, turns out I can write really good Red Hot Peppers lyrics.
Yeah, like a yeah. Yeah.
That's almost exactly
Yeah,
what it was.
That's what it is.
So
Yep.
I know I didn't message you your favorite band.
I don't
because
even know what my favorite band historically I've told people is The Fall of Troy,
yeah,
but I don't know if I would still say that today.
preface to that, I did do exactly that. Although I was like, I can't write lyrics in the style of Fall of Troy just to throw this whole thing off. So
Sane.
I went in a completely opposite direction.
Okay, great.
I didn't. I went for a style of music instead of a specific band.
Okay.
So you gotta tell me if these butt rock lyrics
I will not know the answer, but I would love this.
I won't know these either, I bet.
I
Yeah.
really love butt rock as a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't like listen to a lot of it.
So this is a hoot and a holler to do.
I'm sure, yeah.
So you got to guess whether it was the real artist. Are these real lyrics? Or is this Clay I lyrics?
Okay, or AI.
Or Chat GPT?
Do I get to know the band before you tell me the lyrics or
No, like these are just very generic.
Okay, so
Oh,
this
there-
is like guess the band more than
Do I have to
So
guess
this-
the band too?
If you can,
I won't be able to. Okay.
if you can guess the band, like holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
Okay.
For you.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm down.
Like, and this is all randomized. So
That's perfect.
it could all three be Chat GPTs. They could all three be shit I made up, or they could all three be like actual.
I feel like you come
Band
up with really crazy, believable butt rock lyrics.
Yeah.
I think you could do a good job too.
So here we go. Here, this will be the first one.
Okay.
Real? Did I make this up, or is it Chat GPT? Saw a waitress, couldn't waste it. Opportunity knocks and you take it. Went to my place, gotta get a taste. Couple shots hit the bong. We were wasted.
Okay.
For a minute, I was gonna say Guns N' Roses.
I would say very confident this is real. Because, and I will say this, I don't think that Chat GPT would do this. And I know you wouldn't do this. I think your brain works better than this. I think, there's like a certain thing you can't get to a certain like okay, you couldn't do like particle theory shit, right? You can't get to that level.
Yeah.
That's true of the bottom end too. I think at a certain point you're like, I don't think I could like be on Duck Dynasty. Like I think you can't like get yourself low
I
enough.
could be an executive producer. But
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you could write that.
Yeah. Okay. So what would your answer be then?
My answer is that that's a real band, but I don't know the real band.
You don't know who the real band is. Okay. So it is a real band.
okay.
I fucking knew it.
Are you ready for the band?
Dude, it's got to be. You talk about Buck Cherry so much. One of these has to be Buck Cherry, and that sounds very Buck Cherry-ish to me.
Well, it's not Buck Cherry.
Okay, who
Okay.
is it?
It's Hinder.
Wonderful,
That's basically the same band.
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, it was basically like, and I did actually have a choice between like, do I want to do Buck Cherry Hinder? I'll do Hinder. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah, the song's called Up All Night.
Of course it is. Yeah.
So
Well, I'm glad I'm on the board. All right.
yeah, you're on the board. You're 1 for 1 right now.
That was dumb enough that it had to be real.
All right. So same thing. Are these real? Or is this some bullshit I made up or
Okay.
Chat GPT? Oh hell yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Girl, you know you want it. Let's get hard. Let's get bit. Tonight we'll pump it hard. Oh fuck yeah.
Okay. One is very obvious to me as well.
It's real.
This one is AI.
Okay.
I want to say it's real. I feel like these are all just going to be real.
This one's AI.
I wrote that shit.
Oh no, Clay, no. Okay, were you going off of a style of an artist? Was there an artist in mind?
Buck
I fucking knew. God damn it, Glenn. I knew it would be fucking Buck Cherry, dude.
what would your butt rag
I was just trying to think like
be
what's the most
called?
knuckle draggy like fucking lyrics. Like if a knuckle dragger was coked up. Those are the lyrics.
So
Yeah.
It is just Buck Cherry.
yeah.
I
So
fucking knew you would pick up Buck Cherry song.
Oh my god.
In
Some
some
point.
way, there would be a Buck Cherry thing.
all right, here we go. Here's the last one. Is this Buck Cherry? Or is this some bullshit I made up?
Okay.
Or Chat GPT?
Okay, yeah.
On this highway of life, under a northern sky, a small town tale where dreams learn to fly. Rustic roads and dusty boots, in the heartbeat of a town where the story roots.
So this is the last one. Yeah. Okay, so I think that just based on the way that you would construct this, you would do one of each. So I'm imagining that it just has to be
I
the
want to say
AI.
AI because it sounds too modest.
I'm picking it only because there was a you and there was a real one, and I bet you just did all three and picked three things. So that's why I think it's AI.
It's AI.
Yeah, I knew it.
It's ChatGPT.
I knew you would do
See,
that.
that way it makes sense too, but I 100% was just like, that's too modest.
Yeah, that's ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, I was like, this is dumb.
It is dumb. It's not, but it's like it's not as dumb as it would be if a person.
See, I also think that I think AI tried to base this off of like Jelly Roll. So like,
I've never heard his music.
I haven't
Actually,
either.
So I have a Jelly Roll story, unfortunately.
Oh, you
no.
know him?
No, I know a fan of his.
Okay.
So this was a couple of years ago. I was driving and doing pictures for a band named Prevention from Springfield, Illinois. Super
Straight edge
super
band.
incredible straight edge band. I've said it 1,000 times and I'll say it again. I don't care. And so Tristan, like my drummer and stuff, was drumming for them for this run and using my van and stuff. And van breaks down. I'm stuck in Iowa City for 4 days by myself. Developed kidney stones in this time.
Ooh.
Spent way too much money on a vehicle that is now trashed. And incredible time. So I'm finally leaving, or attempting to leave Iowa City. And the van breaks down about 15 minutes down the road. Up in smoke, everything. Second time. I was like, you gotta be
Cheech and
fucking
Chong.
kidding me. Yeah, my van was smoking hella weed. And we're straight edge. The van wasn't. But and I had to get it towed back to the shop. And I was like, God damn it, I really want to go home. This is terrible. And tow truck driver shows up, and I like talk to my dad, and I was like, will you please drive to Iowa City and get me? I cannot be here for 3 more days because it was going into the weekend and the shop was going to be closed. So he was like, yeah, I'll come get you, just I'll call you when I get there to wake you up. And the guy gets me back to like comes to get me. And it was like, all right. He's like, yeah, we'll get going here. Like, traffic's pretty bad, though. A Hawkeyes game just finished. And I was like, yep, I know. I just drove through it. And I get in his van. He's like, so what kind of music do y'all play? And I was like, oh, like hardcore, breakdowns and stuff. And he was like, you ever heard of Jelly Roll? I was like, oh.
Yeah, dog.
I was like,
fuck yeah.
I was like, what's Jelly Roll? I genuinely had no clue.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's pretty hard. And I was like, all right, man.
Pretty fucking hard.
And he puts it on, and I go, I think I would rather just be sitting at this gas station for 3 days.
You know what you should have fired back with, and this is my go-to. And I spammed a shit ton of bands' pages with this. But now I'm
Get your tickets now.
Yeah, that's what you spent.
yeah, that's what I should bring that back. But
yeah, you EJ Shannon people's.
yeah, no, that was a time and a half. But my favorite one, and I've been doing this more in person now, especially with like coworkers that will like play music over radio while we're working. Just be like, I think this band kind of sounds like Depeche Mode.
Yeah, because no one does.
Yeah, and also no one has ever watched the movie Orgasmo, so they have no clue.
Yeah, I've actually never seen Orgasmo either. I know a lot about it.
You'll
but-
have a good and bad time at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Basketball.
yeah,
Oh,
baseball.
I love basketball.
Basketball is great, and I mean, I think the money from Orgasmo gave them the ability to make basketball.
Yeah, it seems like that was the case.
But that's a steal. I stole that gag from Matt Stone when there's a mariachi band playing at this like basically a small version of the AVN Awards.
Okay.
And they're naked. They're playing their mariachi music. He goes, "What do you think of this band?" And he's like,
That's a pretty good Matt stuff.
"It's fine." And he's like, I think they sound like Depeche Mode. I can't remember the last time I did it with a coworker, but they were playing something butt rocky, and they're like, "Oh, you ever heard of this band?" I'm like, "Oh, I kind of sound like Depeche Mode."
After like being over in that building, I can totally see this happening.
Yeah.
And it just going over their head.
Yeah,
100%.
Well, yeah, because nobody fucking listens to Depeche Mode. I mean, like,
no one does. So.
yeah, I mean, people like a generation older
I
than
do.
us. Yeah, or you, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of like just randos that know Depeche Mode shit, but
I'm kind of bummed I'm not going to be able to do the Depeche Mode version of this episode. The guess the game.
yeah,
You know who
Yeah.
that would be with.
I don't. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
You do Pelican with him as well. He likes Pelican. A lot.
Oh no.
So
Nails,
Nine Inch
Nine Inch Nails.
Oh no. There's a music video I was telling you about. It's called Pinion, where it's like the music video starts and it's like a toilet and the water flushes and it follows the pipes and the pipes continue to go on for like a full minute and you're just following this water, this dirty ass water. And it finally gets to like the mechanism that's pumping the water and you find the end of the pipes attached to someone's mouth and like they're in a full like gimp suit and they're like bound up and it's just like That's happens in the base.
bad.
Yeah. That's probably what that's probably what happens in the basement of some places that
Some places, huh?
some places.
I don't know where.
Well, folks, you're just gonna have to infer what Clay's talking about there.
Make up your own mind.
Yeah, just think about what he could be doing out there.
Yeah, I don't know where. It's like a house or
That's what you
something.
get for calling me a klepto.
I don't think you're a klepto.
No, I know I'm not.
I know I didn't say that.
That was a rumor that was thrown out from someone at one point. So
Sure.
because I have all this Hot Topic merchandise.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you just bought a lot of stuff on clearance.
Well,
but-
also because like I just got out of I at the time got out of a relationship and I was like, I'm gonna wear what the fuck I want to wear, which was bad. I ended up buying fedoras.
you did have like this
Can you wear
weird,
one for the next episode?
Do you still have it?
I still have it.
You did have this weird like crossover. You were like, I'm trying to think of a good way to describe this. Okay, I actually have a great way to describe it. You were like metal dude, new metal dude, and Brandon Novak, and you kind of were like those things combined together,
So I love his Brandon Novak.
or like Bam, Brandon Novak,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
those that era,
Yeah.
like of like I've got like a him shirt on, I have tattoos, I have like a fedora, a tie that's just
Yeah.
sitting on my
Yep.
shirt, and then I'm wearing like velour pants.
My
Like, that would be like their combination.
that's not wrong because like my ex used to listen to a lot of indie music too, so a lot of Tegan and Sarah flying everywhere.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I have one last really important question.
I
for
like
you.
this.
Um,
I'm very nervous. Okay.
no, it's not going anywhere terrible.
This is the
I'm
spice.
fine with it going.
This is
terrible.
the spiciest that we've hit.
I
in
mean,
the
it
show.
could probably become terrible if we wanted.
This
it
is
to,
the
but-
spiciest. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So you play Magic.
I do play
I
Magic.
play Magic.
I play Magic.
Preferred setting of play, like preferred option of playing is in the game modes.
I've only played competitively my whole life, pretty much.
Okay.
So whatever is like the highest stakes thing I can play. But my most fun way to play Magic in my mind is cube draft. I like to cube draft. But I've used to. There aren't really tournaments the way there used to be, but I used to play a lot of like standard and extended and modern and things like that. Legacy a little bit. Yeah. Whatever I
So
can.
do you still? Because like you traveled for tournaments and stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, I used to like travel pretty extensively. I still do a little bit, but I was.
I didn't know like how into it you still were.
Yeah, well, there's less shit to do now. That's kind of
Because we have like what one? Well, I guess two shops now.
yeah, like locally there's like not a lot going on.
Yeah.
But
like River City's and the ones in Alaska too.
Yeah, so there's the one on La Crosse, and then there's one in Alaska, which I personally prefer to go to, mostly because it's closer to me.
Yeah.
I go to-
That's really it.
the Sparta store is really great.
I
of
really like the
local
Sparta one.
stores.
I can't wait to be closer to that store.
Yeah.
I go to Madison a lot for stuff now, but
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to travel pretty extensively. I would go to like Indianapolis a few times a year, Chicago, Minneapolis a lot, Iowa sometimes. Occasionally, like I went to DC for a couple things. For one thing, I went to LA once. I mean, I've gone around, but like also I've kind of been in this weird spot where like I've been on the cusp of qualifying for bigger stuff. So like I lost a match that would have got me qualified for a Japanese tournament.
Damn.
I lost a match that would have got me to Ireland. So I've had like close calls with going to like cool places, but I've been around like the country.
That's pretty
playing.
crazy.
Yeah, it's
Because I knew you did all that, and but I don't know how
it's a
extensive
big
it was.
fucking waste of time and money, honestly.
I mean, yeah, like I have
like
plenty
it.
of decks. So
Yeah, I like it, but it's a lot of bullshit, man.
because when the place I used to work at, I'd get paid every Friday, and every Friday at least like half the check went straight into Magic every
Yeah.
time.
I did that a lot. I've never really bought packs, but
Did and now I don't. Now
yeah,
it's like buy
it's not a
singles
good
that
investment. Yeah, buy singles or like back when there were stores like there's a store called Apex
Yep.
Hobby Shop that used
I
to exist.
remember Apex.
I would play there, and they let you enter. This is the Magic section of the podcast. They let you enter tournaments on credit. So what
Oh,
I
okay.
did was I went there one time. I paid them $5, and then I would play in tournaments for like 4 months, and then I would get like $200-300 of credit, and a set would come out, and then I would buy like 2 or 3 boxes, and then I would just like run my credit down, and then I just did that for like 5 years.
Dang.
And so then I like every time a set came out, I had like 3 boxes, and then I would like play tournaments and I'd win stuff. So like I was usually opening like 6 or 7 boxes for every set that came out, but I never paid for any of it.
That's sick. That's the way to
So
do
that
it.
if there are tournaments, that's how you sustain playing Magic. Terrible situation for the business, I'm sure, if people are
Oh
rolling
yeah.
that.
I mean,
But
that can't be.
yeah, I was happy.
stable for
It
them.
worked out well for me. So
That's what mattered.
See, my one tie into this was when I was getting my shit together and, obviously becoming sober. I remember approaching Ethan because I hear him talking to Rob about Magic all the time.
oh yeah, because Rob was like a closet Magic player.
Oh, big, yeah.
He wouldn't tell anyone, but he
Yeah.
was playing a lot.
But I'd overhear you guys' conversations, so I knew you were into Magic, and he was into Magic, and I was like, "So Ethan, you should teach me Magic." I remember being like, "Nah,
Oh yeah, yeah. That was for your benefit.
yeah, no," and that's fine. But I just remember being like, "Now I know better." Like I was
you
like,
shouldn't do this.
Ethan was definitely saving my ass.
Oh yeah, it was a bad idea.
Saved you thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well, and Rob, I'll give you this one little tidbit about Rob. I hope he hears this because I'd be happy to say it to his face too. But Rob, my favorite thing about Rob is Rob. Every single time we were going to a tournament, he would be like, "Okay, man, I'm ready. I'm gonna go. Everything's gonna be great. We're gonna leave at like 6 and drive somewhere." Right? It's always how it was. We'd have to like get up at 6 in the morning, drive to wherever we were going. One time we went to Kansas City. We were driving to Kansas City, and Rob just like didn't get up, and so we were like late and everything. But then it's because Rob would do no preparation at all. We were all doing a ton of prep work. He would do no preparation. The night before, he would stay up all night and try to like come up with something at the midnight hour. And then he would not sleep, or he'd sleep for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'd pick him up and be like, "Mr. Ethan, I broke the format. I broke it." And then he would have a deck that didn't work, and we would go to a tournament and he would lose horribly, and then he would like sleep all day, and then I would drive him home. And that's mostly what Rob did. But I loved having him around. Yeah.
That's so fun.
I miss Rob.
I just remember the last interaction I had with him, which was at your wedding.
Yeah, he came to my wedding.
That was fantastic. Like the wedding was great, but running into Rob like blew my mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking.
Yeah, he told me
blew
he was
my
gonna
mind.
fuck with you. He was like, "I'm just gonna walk up to him and go, Mr. Clay."
Yeah, but it was great because like he didn't have to do it. Like I walked past him, didn't recognize him because he's in this
Yeah,
like
no dreads.
no dreads, and he had this like suit on. I've never seen Rob in a suit.
Oh yeah, he looked really fucking fly.
It was very fly, like beyond fly. And I just walked right behind him, and I'm like, "Oh, excuse me, sir," and he's just like, "Oh, sir." You know, and I'm standing behind him. I'm waiting to get my little like peach sparkling Italian drink.
Ooh, I still have some of that, by the way.
So fucking good. So,
Mhm.
and then I think finally he was like, "All right, I've had enough of this. I'm just gonna turn around and be like, Mr. Clay," and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, yeah. He
And I was
told me
like,
he was gonna do that.
"Oh my god, it's Rob Singleton." So,
Yep, yep. The homie.
yeah.
Too bad he died. This is a bad way for me to tell you this, but yeah, Rob passed.
No.
No.
I can tell you this much: I've messaged him a few times. He hasn't messaged me back.
that's a Rob thing to do.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's not.
Maybe he is.
If
dead.
I'm laughing and he's actually dead, I'm gonna be the
I hope
biggest
he's dead
piece of
now.
shit.
Makes the story a lot more funny.
Oh man, so I'm gonna end this on the fact that like I think we've every single time we've had someone on, we're like, yeah, you got to come back because
Nope.
You're the only one that's not
because
I'm not coming back.
we left out the knucklehead story.
Ooh, yeah, Knucklehead was good.
So-
Kirk, shout out to Kirk Benson.
So we got to get that covered, and I don't know, we'll do a part 2. But thanks for chatting with us on it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
you
thanks
guys.
for coming and hanging out.
Thank you for having me in your beautiful parents' home.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. I worked
like
hard
this.
on inventing it.
Fancy.
Well, we live and learn from the last podcast we were on. So
That's true. Yeah, that's kind of the nice thing about doing a podcast is you can kind of do it badly the first time and then. Although I
And then
will,
do it mediocre the
I
next
will
time.
say shout out to Lightning. He really held that shit down. He did.
so shout out to Lightning. Also shout out to Scrub Series.
Oh yeah, we're not really streaming anymore, but
But
you
still,
can shout me out. Yeah, we used to stream Street Fighter stuff in my
well,
basement.
also because like I mean, I'm watching you guys grow from Fort Kickass to that was really cool actually. So
Yeah, that's true.
That was pretty drastic growth.
We've kind of done a lot of different streamery and recordery over the years.
I'm still waiting for my towel.
Oh yeah, Yeah, we were doing towels for a while. We were talking about doing towels. Yeah, we never did that. You'll never get one.
I hope you made him pay you.
No, you didn't pay.
I paid someone. I think I
Did you
paid-
really?
I think I paid like, was it Dane? I gave him like $50.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. But it sounds like that sounds true though. Huh?
No, there's no towels, man. We were gonna make Scrub Series towels, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
But yeah.
So-
Well,
There's
yeah.
no
Thanks for having me.
towels.
I would
Yeah,
be
thanks.
happy to be back on if you want me to be back on.
Yeah,
of
we
course.
got to do knuckleheads. So
Yeah, you gotta get some. Can you tease some future guests? Do you have people that you want to shout out or?
we already
can I
we already
coax that
teased
out of
Marty
you?
Berg. Hopefully, we can get him back on. It'd be really cool if we can get complete the set of Pellinger Kid. And get
Well, yeah,
that-
You know
I
what's
would
funny
love to
is
force Evan.
Evan is back in town like next week.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna have to do one next week.
we're gonna have to.
I'll talk to him. I think he's coming back for a little bit. I don't know how long he's here, but
I haven't seen
sure he'd be
Evan
happy
since
to
I
do
was
it.
in his basement.
yeah, he's like a skinhead now. It's kind of wild. I don't mean that he's like a neo-Nazi. But I'm not saying he's a neo-Nazi. But you know,
But
if
I'm
you
also
just,
not.
I will say this: if you were just walking down the street, you wouldn't know.
We just found the title: Evan Pellinger, Skinhead.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But which one?
He might have grown it. I haven't seen him in a little bit. He might have grown it out. But
yeah. I think the wedding was the last time I saw him too.
yeah, and actually, I'm the only Pellinger now who doesn't have the mustache. I have a mustache, but I have
Yeah,
a beard.
but it's
as well.
connected.
I'm
Yeah.
just not willing to do that.
You're
Yeah.
just apart from the rest.
At some point,
Yeah.
we got to do
Somebody's gotta
all
do it.
three at once. So
Imagine
that would
how
be a
fucking crazy
disaster.
that would be.
That would be a
If-
fucking disaster.
you know what? But we need a disaster episode.
And honestly, Mason and I would just derail. Mason and I would ruin the whole thing. Evan would behave.
It's weird because Mason's episode was really good.
Yeah, Mason behaved so well.
Yeah, he was really, really good.
I don't know.
It-
I don't know.
I don't know.
there were plenty of opportunities where like Mason and I could have just totally derailed everything, but we got through it.
Proud of you guys.
I liked his.
It was really great.
I liked his before we hit record. He was telling his Joe Gal story with Ridian.
Oh yeah, we got some good ones. Yeah.
Are you hungry? Yeah.
Okay. At the risk of demonetizing you, I'll end on this one thing about Joe Gal. Okay.
There's the reel.
Okay. You can cut it if you want.
No,
So Joe Gal, for people who don't know, is the former, and I believe he will be the current. I think he's going to get reinstated. The former chancellor of UWL here in La Crosse, and people found that he had both a cooking show on YouTube and a porn channel on Pornhub, where him and his wife would fuck, and then also they would fuck like porn stars and stuff. right?
Actual.
Yeah, he would fly people in, and sometimes they would like give speeches at UWL.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. I don't know. It sounds cool to me, but I would
do
have
this
fucking
quicker.
gone if I would
Gone if I would've known too.
Exactly. So Joey G, he's a vegan,
Yeah.
and you know him pretty well. You guys are tight. And so Joey G, right, in one of these films that he made, one of these feature length films, he is having sexual intercourse with his wife, and
Consensual.
it comes to I'm trying to think of a way to say this to not demonetize you. It comes to its natural conclusion, right? But it doesn't happen while he's in the place you would expect. So it ends up on her back. Okay?
Yes.
Then Joe, in his infinite wisdom, he consumes it. And then he later deposits it.
so this
somewhere else.
raises a few questions.
But immediately, when my friends and I became aware of this through viewing the film, I was like, hang on a second. This guy's supposed to be vegan? That's an animal byproduct. And I was thinking about it, and like, so at first I was like, well, vegans care about the ethical treatment of animals, right? That's why you're vegan. You
Yeah.
care about
That's-
animals,
that's-
right?
That's part of it.
But you don't eat honey, right?
Yeah, that's part of it.
But honey is just naturally going to occur.
Yeah.
They're not being hurt in any way for that honey to happen, but it's still not vegan for you to consume honey because
Yeah.
it's an animal byproduct, right?
My thing with honey is I stopped eating that when I was in 10th grade, long before I was even.
Oh, well,
vegan.
sure. I like honey a lot, but
Yeah.
but I guess my point is like you don't eat like burgers because an animal has to suffer for that.
Sure.
But people who are vegan don't eat honey because it's an animal byproduct. So if that's the cutoff, if we're saying anything that comes out of an animal's body is not okay to consume, I would say as mammals, we should not be consuming anything that comes out of our body
Our own byproduct.
if we are vegan. So I submit that Joe Gao has broken.
Lost his vegan card.
He is
He
not
broke
vegan.
veg.
He broke veg.
broke veg.
Veg.
Yes.
That's all I have to say on that matter. I'm happy. I'm happy he did it. I thought it was funny.
Who was it?
Proud of him.
It made for a thrilling conclusion to the film.
I think it was Tristan who was like, "That's the most American thing you can do."
Really, it is. Yeah, it really is. It really is. I don't know how this. I'm curious how YouTube would treat this, but I didn't really say much specific about. I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
let you know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's cool, but I don't think it's vegan.
I will kind of agree with you on that. So
Well, we'll get him on the horn. He'd be a great future guest.
that's another goal.
Well, I've got his information for you. I have his phone number. and
I know you do.
I have his phone number and his email address. So
That's
Hard to
amazing.
contact. He's easy to find.
I'll get you guys in touch with Joe.
Thank God. Thank God.
Let's. You think he would do it in the basement, or you think he would do it?
In the basement before, yeah.
He doesn't need.
I've seen it.
I've seen it.
Well, this has been lovely.
Thank you.
I'm very happy that we got to
I'm so
share
glad
Joe
that was
Gao.
the note we ended on.
This is
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah.
A piss.
Yeah. Go piss.
I did it in here about an hour ago, but you know.
Like in your pants?
Yeah.